Hello everyone, my name is Hina and I am an occupational therapist at the Down Syndrome Resource Foundation. Today I want to talk to you about sensory processing, profiles, and challenges in Down syndrome. Sensory processing difficulties can often be the cause for those challenges that families, teachers, and therapists often feel happen for no reason. Now, many of us are familiar with the 5 basic senses, but did you know that there are actually 3 additional senses that help us interact with our environment? Let's review these 8 sensory systems. Our visual system, located in our eyes, allows us to see. Our auditory system, located in our ears, allows us to hear. Our olfactory system, found in our nose, allows us to smell. Our gustatory system, located on our tongue, allows us to taste. And our tactile system, located on our hands and feet, allows us to touch. Now, the 6th sensory system is located in our inner ear and is known as the vestibular system, which helps us maintain our balance and posture and understand where and how fast our bodies are moving. The 7th sensory system, also known as the proprioceptive system, receives information from the joints and muscles and tells us where our bodies are in space and how different muscles and joints are moving. The 8th sensory system is known as the interoceptive system, which is our internal body awareness. Receptors from our organs provide information on hunger, thirst, pressure, pain, as well as bowel and bladder fullness. Now that we have identified our 8 sensory systems, let's talk about sensory processing, which is the ability to receive, organize, interpret, and prioritize sensory information received by the brain from the sensory systems and respond appropriately. Let's imagine a kiddo with Down syndrome sitting in their classroom. On any given day, the classroom environment can bombard the brain with input from all sensory systems: the bright fluorescent lights, the sounds of the school bell, the feeling of the paper or pencil, the smell of markers or paint on the craft table, how our bodies feel sitting in a chair, our stomach grumbling because of hunger, and on top of it all, trying to listen and pay attention to the teacher. All of this information has to be organized and interpreted so kids can act accordingly. They must prioritize what is most important and work to filter out the rest. They might think, I have to sit still, listen to my teacher, not let the sound of the bell bother me, ignore the smell of the markers, and finish my work so I can go outside and have my snack. This can be a lot of information for the brain to process all at once, and this is why sensory processing can be a challenge for individuals with Down syndrome. While we all have the same 8 sensory systems, it is important to recognize that we all have unique sensory profiles. How we take in, organize, and react to sensory information can be very different. One child with Down syndrome may love loud noises and lots of colors, while another child with Down syndrome may prefer a quiet environment, darker spaces, and may easily get overwhelmed with fluorescent lighting. Results from a 2010 study suggest that 49% of individuals with Down syndrome in school-age years experience sensory processing difficulties, compared to approximately 5 to 16% of the general population. Kids with Down syndrome can either have a sensory seeking or a sensory sensitivity pattern. If children have a sensory seeking pattern, they can be undersensitive to specific sensory input. This means they may seek out greater amounts of input and require more intense sensory input to be regulated. This is what's happening when you see a child with Down syndrome jumping up and down, crashing into objects, maybe walking very heavily with their feet, or putting items very loudly on the table. If children have a sensory sensitivity, this means that they can be oversensitive and easily overwhelmed to specific input. This is what's happening when a child with Down syndrome overreacts to the sirens of a fire truck or the loud, unexpected school bell or announcement. Some sensory-seeking behaviors you may see include spinning, chewing on fingers or other objects, as well as crashing or jumping up and down. Some sensory sensitivity behaviors you may see include an aversion to loud noises or difficulty with tolerating activities such as teeth brushing. Some additional common sensory challenges for kids with Down syndrome include difficulty with sitting still on a chair. Often fidgeting is their way of creating body awareness. Printing can be a difficult task because they may not be able to feel the pencil in their hands. Fluorescent lights can be too bright or loud with their humming. They may become overstimulated from too much auditory input. Toileting can be a big challenge. Understanding the internal signals of when you have to pee and poo can be often a tricky part of toilet training. The feeling of particular fabric or clothing tags on the skin can also be a sensory challenge. So what can you do if you recognize some of these sensory challenges in your kids with Down syndrome? Seeking advice and a consult from an occupational therapist is a great first step. Through a simple assessment and collaboration with parents, teachers, and support workers, an occupational therapist can create a sensory profile unique to your child and provide strategies to help your child receive the appropriate amount of input to keep their nervous system organized. The goal at the end of the day is to provide your child with functional strategies to get that required sensory input while allowing them to engage and participate in their everyday activities. Thank you for watching, and for additional resources or to connect with one of our occupational therapists, please visit our website at www.dsrf.org.